I'm going to probably cut it up in pieces, and then I'll probably smash it back together again. Thereby, what I'm doing is taking all my big shingles, breaking them into little shingles, and mashing it all together into a big ball again, basically creating mealy dough. So what I've done is I've just worked it a little bit more, cut down those shingles. Right now, this would be a wonderful top crust, because it's going to be really flaky and really light, but not as easy to work with as mealy, and also much more absorbent, I guess you could say. It'll soak up so much more water if there's water in the pie itself. So I'm going to go ahead and make some mealy out of this in a little while. I'll stick this in the fridge in the meantime. But mealy, if you want to make it from the very beginning, all you have to do is make sure those pieces of fat are all that much smaller. Make them about the size of peas, little pieces. Roll those out using the well method, and you'll get little shingles. And those will overlap so much more, and you'll get so much more waterproofing. It'll be much better for things like fruit pies and custards and other types of pies like that. Really very simple. Now, in a little while, I'll call you back. We'll roll this out. I'll roll this out, and we'll start to fill some pie tins with it. And I'll show you about scalloping the edge, finishing the edge, and how to go about finishing off the top. We can also do a lattice work if you like. But in the meantime, I guess what you guys are still in the middle of right now is finishing up with your apples, getting all of your peels off of your apples and getting them poured. Remember, if you are starting to get browning on your apples, make sure to put those peels on top like a nest. You notice people doing that. If you put them on top of the apples, the peels actually release ethylene gas, which keeps those apples from turning brown. Believe it or not, it works. I've done them ahead of time and kept them overnight in the refrigerator just to pull them out in the morning and find them still looking fresh. I mean, it's really pretty amazing. And you don't have to use any lemons or anything like that to do it. It's just an amazing, amazing little trick. But do that. And also, one thing that Kenan had tried, he asked me about was he put all his apples in one of those big blue stock pot things we have. He's like, is there any easier way? Well, he decided to go use one of these large bowls to saute up his apples, and that worked much better. He was able to get in there and toss them much easier, and he had more room to work with. Over a moderate flame, I would recommend. But he managed to cook his already, and he just gets them al dente. For those of you who don't know what al dente means, it means not quite soft, not quite hard, right? To the tooth, just a little bit of bite to them. But they're just starting to. They're just starting to get cooked enough so that when they go in the pie, they'll already have a head start. It makes it a lot easier to bake. So are there any questions? Yes?
Can you get up like potato skins on top of potatoes so they keep from turning brown?
I don't know if potatoes release ethylene gas the same way apples do, but it's worth a try. Potatoes are really notorious for it. Usually what I do is I put potatoes, like cubed potatoes, in water. Yeah, that usually takes care of them even overnight.
What about bananas?
Bananas, they do release ethylene gas, so they should be able to.
So just put the peels on top of them?
Yeah. Yeah. If you ever notice, if you have a bowl or a basket in your kitchen, you put tomatoes that are sort of a little green, let's say a little bit of green bananas in there too, they'll both get ripe faster. It's because they're together.
Yeah.
That's because of that gas. It gets
I know.
released.
I always heard like